What? I love cats. I've come to the conclusion that cats are just like the perfect animal. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with cats. Family members would always give me like cat-themed gifts for my birthday. And they still do. And, you know, like every other kid who did Warriors LARPs at recess, I wanted to be a cat.
Are you videotaping this?
Yes.
Oh.
So say something very witty.
Meow.
Dude, you don't understand. This was my whole personality. So naturally, when indie adventure game Stray dropped last summer, I bought it immediately. No, I didn't. My roommate gifted it to me because she knows me so well, and we're in love. I mean, an existential adventure game where you play as a cat? Well, that's just fucking irresistible to me. So French studio Blue 12 released Stray back in July to super positive reviews, and as it turns out, the cat game deceived a few people. Some people are even calling this a horror game. I don't, because it doesn't really try to be scary all that much, but I get why some sensitive souls might think that. It's set really far into the future, and turned out to be way more philosophical than I expected. So let's investigate the complexities of Tinky Whittle Tobin. In the beginning of the game, you hang out with all your stray cat friends in this gorgeous, lush, green environment. And all the ways that you can nuzzle on and play with your friends is so freaking cute. You can also meow whenever you want, and because the cats are a hive mind, all the other stinky babies will meow back at you. I mean, this is the life, right? If you're a cat, you get to adventure around this overgrown paradise and drink from puddles and scratch things. And then because you're an absolute fucking embarrassment, you slip and fall off this pipe. Now he's got a little limp, and his friends are calling after him. Fortunately, he sleeps it off and explores these sewers, at which point he finds himself in a big, empty city. There's someone seemingly directing the cat through the city, and it's very suspect. But not as suspect as these fucking naked guinea pig-ass abominations running around. Oh yeah, they chase you too. But the thing watching you leads you to a safe room full of all this weird tech. You have to upload something into this thing called a drone companion, which then comes to life. It turns out the guy watching you was a consciousness trapped inside a giant machine. He's a sentient robot who calls himself B12. He used to work for a scientist, but he doesn't remember anything else about himself. Probably because he's been trapped in that machine for a really, really long time. And he offers to help you go home. But the only thing that really matters is that he gives you a cute little backpack so you can carry him around with you.
This backpack was designed for small quadrupeds like you. Is this uncomfortable for you?
So the deal with B12 is that he remembers promising someone he'd make it to the outside, where you're from. And he's determined to do this even if he's not really sure why. Oh yeah, basically you're trapped underground and there's no discernible way to get back to the surface. So then B12 guides you to the city proper, which is occupied by more sentient robots. This cat's dead, isn't it? And it's just like having a crazy-ass DMT trip. Apparently a long, long time ago, humans moved down into the city to escape some kind of catastrophe, a la Wall-E. And here they built robot companions to do tasks for them. The humans eventually all died off though, and now their robots are the only ones left. And because these dudes have never touched grass, no one knows what a cat is except for B12. So they all think that you're some kind of robot too. They tell you that you can never go back outside because it's too dangerous, mostly because of those guinea pig things which are called Zerks. Dangerous stretches of Zerk territory separate sections of the city. And what section are you in? Why, it's the slums, where the upper levels send their trash. Now, there's a group called the Outsiders who tried to escape their situation and go, well, outside, but they haven't been heard from since they left. Except for one, who never left. And that's when we meet Momo.
I don't know where they ended up. I tried to contact them, but that fucking transceiver doesn't work!
Momo has been very lonely since all of his friends disappeared, so we need to help him contact them. And to do that, we need to run this transceiver up to an antenna, which is outside the safe bounds of town. And as we climb higher, things start to look really slimy. And we also start seeing these signs for a thing called Nekocorp. Neko, like cat, get it? And I'm about to start talking about the lore, so we are now in Spoiler Town. It turns out that Nekocorp was a waste management company who designed a trash-eating bacteria. This was to manage waste after humanity moved underground. Things got out of hand though, and the bacteria mutated into Zerks.
Not scientifically possible!
Which will eat through anything. And we have to outrun a lot of them to make it to the antenna. So we connect the transceiver, and then we meet Momo to contact some outsiders. We learn that at least some of them are still alive, but that we'll have to go through the sewers to reach them. The Zerk-infested sewers. You see, this guy Seamus, his dad, Doc, was one of the outsiders. Doc was a scientist and went into the sewers to test a gun for killing Zerks, but he never returned. So it's a sore subject for Seamus. For no other reason but to cheer him up, I guess. You break into Seamus's house and happen to find his dad's secret lab. There's an old tracker in there that might lead you to Doc. And with this, we are able to progress to the sewers. but like, can we just talk about this area for a minute? I mean, A, this is like my favorite part of the game, and B, there's like a shit ton of lore dumped here. This relationship between robots and humans is really interesting. The robots don't refer to humans as creators, they refer to them as ancestors. Originally, the robots were basically slaves, but it didn't matter because they weren't conscious. At some point, though, well after everyone moved underground, the robots gained souls. And nobody knows why. I guess at this point, the humans stopped using them as utilities because the robots really idolize humanity, both the good and the bad. These guys are hundreds of years old, so they kind of evolved themselves to be more human-like. Now they can digest food and make their own art, and they can give themselves little hairdos and clothes that fit their personalities. But also, class struggle. Class struggle. I mentioned earlier that the city has a bunch of tiers, a bunch of levels if you will, and the higher you go, the better the living conditions. This started out as just a human thing, obviously, but after they all died, the robots just kinda kept it going. We'll talk about it later. Oof, okay, I've been talking about the linear plot and the lore so much that I haven't brought up a really big part of the game. So, B12, right? He doesn't remember shit. Well, there's a certain amount of his memories that you can physically find throughout the game. Technically, you don't really need to find any of them, but they do provide a lot of context. Like, for example, there's this graffiti in the slums that says, "Rip humans," and it causes B12 to go into this existential spiel. Actually, a lot of what the game is trying to say is transmitted through B12, or at least reinforced, and it's kind of fun to try and collect all his memories. There's another kind of collectible in the game too, badges. There are some robots that you can do little fetch quests for, and if you complete it, they give you a badge for your backpack. I'm especially a fan of Marusk, this little gal with a guitar. If you bring her sheet music, she won't just give you a badge, she'll like actually play you some songs. Adorable. Okay. Back to the story. So outside the slums, you find Doc hiding out in a little house, because he can't handle the Zerkage. We help fix his Zerk Popper thing, which we get to keep for the rest of the game, and take him home to his son. How is Seamus Doc's kid? Like, did Doc build him to be like everyone else because he's a scientist? That has some really cursed implications. Did Doc adopt him so he could, like, mimic human parenting? Did robots evolve to fuck? You can now go through the sewers to the upper levels of the city. Thanks, Benzu, you're my favorite drug class. And in the sewers, we are introduced to Zerk eggs. Yes, they lay eggs, and you have to pop them, and Zerks flood out of them, and they come for you, and the eggs glow when you get close to them. Ew! But there's also something much worse than the Zerk eggs. Lying just around the corner. Mom? Cute cat game isn't cute anymore. I don't know if I'm just really sensitive or what, but this genuinely scared the shit out of me the first time I saw it. And that's why I love it. It's just so unexpected, and the way they watch you at all times and how their pupils constrict whenever a batch of Zerks falls, it's all just... But you know what's even worse? When they all suddenly close out of nowhere. And you're just sitting there wondering when something horrible is gonna happen. B12 suggests that you might be surrounded by eyes because you're inside a giant organism mutated from Nekocorp bacteria. So, that's... Oh great, the eyes have opened again. B12 thanks the cat for carrying him to safety, and they finally make it out to Ant Village, a little place of refuge between the slums and Midtown. B12 needs some alone time, so you can't really talk to anyone for a while, because he's the one that translates what the robots are saying to you. Yeah, B12 can, translate robot language to cat language, no big deal. List that as a special skill. But he comes back out when you meet TheBaldMan, another outsider. This means that you have to backtrack if you want to talk to any friends or do any side quests. But I think it's worth it.
I do love the smell of fresh paint. It reminds me of... Oh wait, I can't smell anything. How sad.
I hurt myself today.
TheBaldMan points us upward to Midtown so we can find the last outsider, Clementine. She's come the closest to making it outside. So we're almost there. Too bad B12 is all nihilistic now because all of his friends and family are dead, so there's no one left for him. Pansy. So unlike the slums, Midtown is colorful, materialistic, and what's this? Our buddy Clementine is on a wanted poster. Word is she's an outlaw for being all rebellious and wanting to go outside. And who's stopping her? These police robot guys called Sentinels. There's no government or anything now that the humans are dead, but basically, the humans designed these robot police officers, Robocops if you will, who never really stopped policing, so even though we know the outside is safe, they still stop anyone from leaving the city. Ever. Clementine is hiding out from them in her apartment, where we learn of her grand plan. She says we're gonna get out through the subway, but she needs an atomic battery to power the station, which we need to steal from Nekocorp. Her buddy, Blazer, helps us steal the battery, but he also ends up turning us into the Sentinels for a bounty, so that's awkward. And that's how we end up in prison, where we have our own little cage dangling over a pit of toxic liquid. This metal is shit. We break Clementine. We break Clementine and B12 out of their cells, and the gang escapes in a truck. Clementine drops us off by the subway, telling us that we have to make it to the outside alone while she distracts the Sentinels. And then she drives off into the sunset. So the cat and B12 take the subway to the headquarters of Walled City 99. Well, that's very Fallout. I'm a little confused though, like, this had to have been the only underground city made because it seems to be very confirmed that all of humanity is dead now. If there were other cities, no one would really know if humanity was extinct, so I don't know why it's called Walled City 99. But this area is basically a relic from the past. We see some still unconscious robots here who just complete menial tasks like painting the walls. My favorite thing about this area is that we can just look out a window and see the whole city. Neat. The door to the outside is right in front of us, but it's still locked down because there aren't any humans left to open it. Yeah, get shat on, B12! So now it's time to break into the plague... Wait, what? So now it's time to break into the control room. B12 remembers why everyone moved underground. There was a plague that eventually wiped out all of humanity, and the humans up here lived pretty comfortably until it ultimately reached them, too. B12 decides that his new purpose is to carry the memories of humanity into this sort of new Earth, so that his species can be preserved. And also, if you found all of his memories before this point, he gives you a cool chrome backpack. You don't get to wear it for long. So B12 says he knows how to open the city. He just needs you to walk on some keyboards and break some shit while he hacks into a few systems. But with every hack, B12 takes a lot of damage. He insists that he'll be alright, so long as you can get him to a charging station after the city is opened. So we think nothing of it, and let him hack the last terminal. And just before the final human dies, he tells the cat that he was a true friend. I guess that would make him man's best friend. It's been a hard week, okay? This is such a nice, quiet, kind of solemn moment. You can just sleep next to B12 in this big, empty control room for pretty much as long as you want. You can also watch the city slowly open from the window behind you. It's such a grounded and real moment for a game so fantastical as this one. Now all the robots are liberated, all of the Zerks are popped like pimples on the face of the robot ecosystem, and the cat can finally go home. I didn't cry at the end of Stray. You cried at the end of Stray. Because you're a pussy. A pussy cat! Yeah, I don't know what to say, this game is great. And I think a lot of that can be chalked up to attention to detail. I like the little stance the cat gets into when he's thinking about jumping. I love that you can see his little tummy moving when he breathes. I like that the robots always react when you meow at them or rub against their legs. I like how you can stick your head in a bag, which then inverts your controls, so you have to flail around until you get it off. I like how sometimes the cat automatically meows in response to things that robots say to him. And I especially like how you can curl up on this rooftop in the slums and zoom out to see the whole city. And have I really not mentioned the music yet? Because, damn. When playing Stray, I always felt like the absolute stinkiness of our protagonist was being adorably exploited whenever possible. But obviously a lot of heart and thought was put elsewhere. This game is just so lingerable. I want to linger in all the environments and watch everyone do their thing. And I love the robots themselves! Which is why I like the slums portion of the game so much. It's very robot-centric. Like, There's a puzzle you do in that part of the game where you need this geek dude to fix a what's-it for you, but he won't work while he's cold, so you get a robot named Grandma to knit him a poncho out of electrical cable. This game is disgustingly cute. There's just such a sense of community in this part of the city, like everyone knows each other and has opinions on everyone else. Maybe it's because there's only sentient robots at this point and no sentinels. And would you believe me if I told you that there was not only one, but 2 Skyrim references in this game? I just find that hilarious. Someone on the dev team really liked Skyrim, I guess.
So the game stacks up in presentation, but is it all just fluff?
Look, man, I seek out games with good stories and deeper philosophical meanings, but I was not expecting that out of Stray. When it came out, I saw play as cute cat, and I was sold. But it ended up really exceeding my expectations. Stray shines a spotlight on a lot of our human qualities that we take for granted. For example, there's this scene where B12 talks about how he misses being in a human body. Not just because he could feel physical comfort and have a penis, but he also misses the pain and the discomfort. It was flawed, but that's what made it interesting. I've been struggling a lot lately with existential dread, and I feel like this is a great game to play during an existential crisis or something similar. Because it presents mere confused consciousness as beautiful. It's what let humanity make the robots, and the robots to make a cute little community, and also cool art. And the robots even willingly downgraded themselves in a way to become more human, because now they have to eat. Now they can get so shit-faced drunk you need to drop a crate on their heads to wake them up. Everyone in this game loves humans and wants to preserve their memory, most of all B12. The robots probably learned to preserve humanity from the legacy-obsessed humans themselves. But humans weren't all good. Aren't all good. I mean, with the mutation of Zerks from man-made bacteria, they made life worse for their robot descendants. So while humans can create and experience so much beauty, it's best to let go of a lot of the things we've done to ourselves. And at some point, we will all be forced to let go of our very existence. And this is where I find Stray to be at its most profound. B12 preserves himself in this machine for hundreds of years, watching his species become obsolete and being survived by their creations. And when he comes out, and remembers why he uploaded himself in the first place, he realizes that nothing is really left for him. It reminds me a bit of how people talk about terminal illness or even old age. How they say that it's best to die in a state of minimal suffering than to just keep living for the sake of it. B12 preserved himself longer than any human, but at what cost? Well, now he needs a reason for being, and so decides that he will represent an undying humanity. This doesn't last long, though, because he comes to learn that the city cannot open without his robotic body malfunctioning. So B12 doesn't just give up his life, he allows all of humanity to go extinct. He does so with trust in these robots, the next step after humanity. Because the future can only move forward if we let go of a stagnant present. It's kind of like how we progress socially and scientifically, knowing that we, the individuals, probably won't live to see all the benefits, but we continue on with the faith that the future world will benefit. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of that typical, sci-fi political tension thing going on here too.
And the underground living conditions becoming more squalid, and the capitalistic greed of companies like Nekocorp and the police state created by the
Personally, I don't find it quite as interesting as the game's more existential takes, but let's talk about it anyway. So again, there's no government, but the regular companion robots are oppressed by Sentinel robots. Do Sentinel robots have souls like the others? I don't think so, considering they do nothing outside of their job, which is no longer necessary since the humans are all dead. And B12 basically says that they never evolved like the others. So you have one side of the robots kind of fighting to be free, to be more human, and the other side trapped in their programming. And I don't know what to say about that. Don't give positions of authority to people without souls? Well, easier said than done, am I right? But what is Stray about? I'd say it's about humanity and its legacy. It's about letting things go and making room for a new world. It's about being trapped in a state of things created by your ancestors and having to navigate it in their absence. There's an even more important question, though. Why do we play as a cat? Well, because it forces us to see humanity and its products from the outside. Also cute. That's plenty of meaning for one video. Now let's talk about something trivial to cleanse our palates. Oh my god, the stray mods! They're everywhere. You can give the cat glasses, an eye patch, a newsboy cap. You can turn him into Garfield. You can even make the cat your cat. I downloaded the Siamese mod so that it looks like Rosa. You can make it so that every time Meow, it's the dad from Heavy Rain saying Jason.
Jason!
There's also... you can give him glasses? In conclusion, cats are indeed the perfect animal. Because this is how they bring people together.